Hey there, Michael Griffiths here, founder of Referral Marketing Guru, and welcome to this week's Get More Referrals Today podcast. Today, I want to talk about an accelerator within our Limbic Advantage called Chemicalise Communication. Now, on face value, you might go, what's that about? Like, why do I need to chemicalize my communication? But stay with me, because you're going to see that probably, I reckon this is maybe one of the most important aspects of your business that's overlooked every single day, because simply we're in the wrong part of the brain. So stay tuned. As always, if you love the episode, make sure you review it, make sure you share it. If you don't love the episode, hey, shoot me an email. What would you like to hear? Or, hey, it's been great having you on board, but go find different podcasts. It's all good. So, chemicalizing communication. What actually is this accelerator? So, as you know, within our Limbic Advantage, and the Limbic Advantage is all about how do we create extraordinary moments throughout our business to be able to skyrocket our referrals, our client retention, turn our clients into walking, talking, ranting, raving ambassadors for us. Because in the end, growing a business is so much easier when you've got a full pipeline, you've got clients that are absolutely over the moon and never want to leave you, and they're always out there talking about you to fill your pipeline even more. And it comes down to this activating extraordinary moments centerpiece. But to get the centerpiece, there's three key levers: heartfelt thinking, profound strategy, and magical experiences. Well, up here, we're in this heartfelt thinking. We're in this part where the cortex brain over on the left-hand side, it's rational, it's logical, it's analytical, it's understanding every single word that I'm saying right now. But it doesn't make any decisions. It doesn't create any decisions that you make. It doesn't control your human behavior. In the limbic part of the brain, the feeling part of the brain, the right part of the brain, it's not understanding a single word I'm saying, but it's picking up a feeling. And whether that's through my tonality, whether that's through the words I'm using, whether that's through the passion of what's being said, it's creating this feeling. And if you're still listening, the feeling's probably positive. If you're not still listening, well, you don't get to know the rest, but it wasn't positive, and therefore you quickly went over to your cortex and said, I don't need to listen to this, and you turned it off. And that's what we're doing every single hundredth of a second throughout the day. We have a feeling that takes place in our limbic part of the brain. It quickly jumps over to the cortex part of the brain, it rationalizes it, it puts logic around it. And therefore, we base our next decision on it. So let's look at this, chemicalizing communication. Firstly, I want to go through what it actually is and then give you some different places where you could use it. Every aspect of communication, whether it is through a video, whether it's through an SMS, whether it's through a phone call, whether it's through a face-to-face meeting, whether it's through an email, it doesn't matter. If you are communicating with another human being, then this is super important. And it doesn't even have to be from a marketing perspective. It could be from a team perspective, a supplier perspective, a contractor perspective. When you are communicating with another human being, then you're going to want to understand this. As humans, we all have 4 brain chemicals that take place every single day within us. 3 positive, 1 negative. So we've got dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, the 3 positive brain chemicals that make us laugh, make us smile, make us feel good, make us feel warm and fuzzy, make us feel trust, make us feel bond, make us feel close to somebody else. They're the positive ones. Now, for some people, they go by doing some sort of extreme adventure that gives them dopamine. For other people, sitting at the beach on the sun. For other people, going to the snow and going skiing. Walking through the mountain, getting out into nature, whatever it is, it's different for different people, but you're wired in a way that your body needs dopamine. Okay? It needs to be having fun. It needs to be feeling excitable. It needs to be feeling this nice, life's great. Then you need oxytocin. Oxytocin out there in the relationship world is the love chemical. It's why a partner comes together. But in our business world, it's no different because we're still 2 human beings. It creates bond, it creates trust, it creates closeness. You can see how that's beneficial, whether it's with prospects, whether it's with clients, whether it's with team, whether it's with prospects. It doesn't really matter. We all need oxytocin. Then you got serotonin, that warm, fuzzy, feeling good chemical. Then you got a negative chemical. So your three positive ones, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. The negative one, cortisol, stress chemical. And so often in our own communication, we either provide cortisol, the stress chemical, by mistake, like we don't mean to do it, or we provide no chemical whatsoever. Even worse, even if you're providing the bad chemical, at least you're providing a feeling of some sort. Sure, you don't want to provide that all the time, but at least you're providing something. Because as humans, we go completely off emotions. You think how many times, let's just take this into a personal level, and whether it's with a life partner, whether it's with a boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's with a family member, you can have an argument, but what happens after the argument and it's cooled down? You get back to normal again. But the argument happened because two people are passionate about something. It's not right or wrong. It's just simply two people are passionate about whatever that their viewpoint was on that particular matter. So providing a negative chemical isn't horrible. What's horrible is providing no chemical whatsoever, no feeling whatsoever. I reckon it's pretty close. I remember hearing probably a good 5 years ago where there was this statistics about 90% of people go about their day. It's just routine. They just know they're robots. They know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how to react to it. And therefore, there's no real surprises in it. It's just like blinkers are on, go about my day, do what I need to do, get home, mundane, boring, day in, day out, day in, day out. Well, if you think that that's what the majority of people in the world are living in, and you come across and you give a bit of excitement, you give a bit of bond, you give a bit of closeness, you give a bit where they can laugh, straight away, you're standing out compared to everybody else. But the unfortunate part is we don't think about this consciously enough to then go, how can I do this within my business? And that's the problem. Because with everything we talk about, limbic brain, limbic advantage approach, we can strategically control, strategically influence other people's behavior. Now that's scary, but you've already got a bunch of really smart businesses doing it every single day without you even knowing it. So why would you not want to do the same? So let's dive into chemicalizing communication. Where can you actually chemicalize your communication? Well, I think the first place where so many people don't get it right is, what does your email signature look like? If you've got a picture of yourself with your contact details underneath you, it's like, who cares? I don't need to see you. Have an email signature that's going to evoke an emotion in me. Maybe there's a joke underneath it. Hey, have a great day. Talk soon. Michael. P.S. Here's my joke for the day. Probably going to create an emotion. Maybe there's a nice image down there. Maybe it's something that's going to help them. But don't just put your content. Like, they don't need your email. You sent them an email. So they don't need that underneath it. They don't need to see who you are. So to me, it's number one spot where people could do a better job. Voicemail message is probably the second spot where people could do a better job. When someone has to leave you a message, what does that message sound like? Are you upbeat? Are you excited? Or are you boring in the same tonality? Little things makes a big difference. And we go, oh, who cares? It's just a voicemail. It's just for them to leave me a message. That's the problem. because every little one of those half percenters add up to a completely different experience for the other person. And chemicalizing your communication is about you thinking, how do I create a whole different experience for the other person? It's not about for me. So if you had that way of thinking, I guarantee you the way you'd respond to emails would be different. The way you'd write your email would be different. It wouldn't be so logical, so rational, so analytical. In other words, so boring. It would be more fun. It would be more playful. Because your focus would be, how do I make the other person feel a particular way? When you put up your social media content, honestly, it's a drag to have to go through my newsfeed and read the crap that people write where they think they're doing a really good job. It's really insightful. They think that they're adding great value, but it's just boring. And it's boring because they're writing it in their cortex brain, in their logical brain, in their rational brain. And when you write anything in that part of the brain, you can't be emotive. You can't be thinking about how am I going to make this other person feel as I put this out there and they read it. Right now, doing this video, doing this podcast, and whether you're listening to it on a podcast or you're watching it on YouTube, my hands move all the time. You can hear the passion in my voice because it's so exciting to me to think how easy it is to be able to change your business by understanding a bunch of these sorts of things that we talk about. So, do I want to add value? Yeah. But it's not about adding value. The whole way through, I'm trying to hopefully get you to maybe think a little bit differently, which then change your emotion, which then changes the way you do business, which then evokes a different emotion again. So my whole way through, this has got nothing to do with me. It's got everything to do with how can I make the other person, whoever's watching it or listening to it, be able to get to a whole different level. And if they can get to a whole different level, what happens to their emotion? Through the roof. It's super positive. Dopamine floods through their brain. Gee, I've got to go back and listen to Michael. I've got to go back and follow Michael. I've got to reach out to Michael. Whatever it is, that's the byproduct. I don't have to focus on that. See, chemicalizing communication should be about you leaving your own ego at the door, you dropping the mask, and being able to just simply go, how am I going to evoke brain chemicals in whatever communication I'm about to send out? And when we can start to do that, all of a sudden now, watch how often someone comes back to you. Watch how often someone reaches back out to you. Watch the level of engagement, because it will completely go to new levels that you have never experienced before. And the only difference is that you've taken the focus off how can I communicate, how can I look good, how can I focus, to just simply what brain chemical do I want to create in this person, and how am I going to go about doing that? When you think, most humans, it's head down, it's bum up, it's blinkers on, it's live in boring town, day in, day out. So imagine if you get to be the person that puts fun into their life, that puts laughter into their life, that puts excitement into their life. All of a sudden now, this is the power of brain chemicals. We have to keep coming back. We keep going to the source that gives us the brain chemicals that we desire. And we desire dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin every single day. So do you want to be the person who makes that happen? Or do you just want to be part of their boring life where the blinkers are on? They read it, they go, huh, that's nice. And then they move on to the next thing. And that's what's happening. Whether it be your social content, whether it be emails that you send out, whether it be videos that you do, the whole focus should always be how and what brain chemical am I going to create that's going to make the other person feel a particular way. We've got a great video at michaelgriffiths.com.au on that homepage there about the whole limbic advantage and why you need to limbic your business. If you haven't really known much about the limbic brain side, go check it out. Because when you start to understand that you can, in your business, in all areas of your business, from the way you think and the way your team thinks, to the way that your message is sent out there, and the way you deepen connection with your message, to the way you chemicalize your communication, to the way you fill your pipeline, to the way you nurture your pipeline, to the way that you enroll and bring clients on, to the way you craft your client journey from start to finish, from the way you elevate your systems and make them more magical, to the way that you maximize your impact and you build this community, this tribe of clients, rather than every client being individually. There are 9 key accelerators, and every single one of them, you can strategically influence another person. What does that give you as an end result? Hey, the simple bottom line, business growth. You're going to have a full pipeline. You're going to have people going from being prospects to jumping up saying, please, let me work with you. And most importantly, they're going to be walking, talking, ranting, raving billboards that don't want to leave, and they'll bring more people into your pipeline also. So from today, I want you to go think about your communication. Look at your email signature. Look at your voicemail message. Look at the next email you're about to send. Look at the next social post you're about to write. And just ask yourself, what emotion will this create in the other person who's looking at it? And if you don't think it's going to create much of an emotion, change it. Because all of our communication is about evoking emotions in somebody else. That's it from me this week, guys. Hope that's been super helpful. Make sure you go michaelgriffiths.com.au, check out that Limbic Advantage and what it's all about. If you've got any questions, if you want us to have a look at a piece of your communication, just simply reach out, michael@michaelgriffiths.com.au. Till next time, take care, and I'll speak to you real soon. See you later, all.